Welcome again to the eVetSites Open Orientations, where this week we're going to cover Google Webmaster Tools. As usual, we welcome all questions and queries, and we're not going to delve too deep into this program today. It's kind of an introductory lesson today. Hope everyone is gearing up for a great Thanksgiving if you are here in the States, and if you're a Canadian, well then belated Thanksgiving greetings to all of you. Before I get started, I guess I'll introduce myself. My name's Jose Galpin. I've been here for a couple of years at eVetSites, and I'll be your presenter today. I spoke with one person this morning, let's see, Danielle at LakeVet, so we're going to be using lakevet.net as sort of our guinea pig. But if any of you need to get Google Webmaster Tools installed on your website, we can do that for you. Obviously, there's no extra charge. And if you have your own Google account, we can walk you through setting it up for that as well. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. For those that don't know, Google Webmaster Tools, aka Google Search Console, is a tool. It's a free tool from Google. It's a way of tracking information, visits, and it's also a way of you letting Google know. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Tammy. All right. Maybe this is a little better. Okay, so Google Webmaster Tools is a tool. It's a free interface that Google has given folks. And what it does is it's along with Google Analytics, is one of the ways that you can both get information on how your site is found. It'll help you with your SEO, and it's also a way for you to improve how your site appears, because you can actually tell Google about updates to your website. It's a completely free program. You go to google.com/webmasters. Again, you can always have us do the heavy lifting. Just tell us we want it. And we want it on our site, and we'll get it done for you. When you install it, you're going to be presented with a screen that looks like this. We've got several different accounts, so yours may look a little different. And so, for example, lakevet.net, these folks have signed up with us. We have it installed on their machine. We get a lot of information, and we can actually tell Google things like, here's how many pages we've got on the site, because there are times when they have automated programs that'll go out and look for the pages on your site. But you can actually tell them, here's how many, we have. And so, for example, here we've submitted a sitemap. We've submitted 26 pages. Hopefully, they'll index every single one of them. By index, what I mean is they're going to go ahead and catalog it. They're going to look at the page. They're going to say, okay, this is all these pages are now taken into account. If we look at, if we do a search, I'll just do it like this. If you do site, and then your domain name, you can find out how many pages Google has indexed. Now this says 373. There's a little bit of goofiness here because Google looks at the same page through different ways. So the same page may appear several times, especially for the calendar, because every day is a different page, so you'll have hundreds of pages in there. But you can, if you do this, you can have a good idea in general of how many pages Google has cataloged. And you want to have the most amount of pages cataloged, because then you have more material for people to then stumble upon. If you have, maybe a half dozen pages versus 24 pages, the page that has 24 pages, hopefully packed full of content, full of images and text, is going to then show up. So for example, here we see that there's this information about the doctor, and we've got Northern Lakes and Cumberland and all this information. So this is all coming up, and this is all fantastic stuff. How Google Webmaster Tools can help is because you can submit these things called a sitemap. You can tell them we've got 26 pages. You can also treat Google as though it were a family pet. Although instead of throwing out a kind of a beat-up tennis ball, what we're going to do is we're going to say, come to our page and take a look at it. So if, for example, we were working on, I don't know, let's look at the Contact Us page. Here we've got this thing about, contact us information. It's got some driving directions from one place to another. But there's not a lot of information on here, so I'm going to add a little bit if that's okay. And I'll put it up here. Let's see, it's Northern Lakes Veterinary Clinic. All right, it's pretty obvious. People can see the maps. They know that this is what it is. But we've added that, and if there are other communities nearby, you can put these in. So you could do something like, for example, right here, we would say for driving directions to both of our locations in the communities of A, B, and C, where A, B, and C are nearby communities, then you would show up for those, if we did this. So this is the first part of the step. I don't know any of the communities nearby, so I'm just going to say from again, this is pretty basic stuff. What I'm just doing this just to show how we can tell Google about this. All right, so here's this page, driving directions to veterinary clinic, driving directions to enter your location. It's pretty straightforward, right? But this is now different than how we had it before. So if I go here, and we'll do and the reason I did it this way, let me slow down for a second. I know I'm looking specifically for that page. I could go like this and then just kind of go all the way through. Well, here it showed up. On every time you do a search like this, you may not know this, but these little arrows show it's a little bit of time travel. If you click this little arrow and the cache button, it'll show you the site as it is currently, or not currently, but in this case, this is how it looked on November 10th, 2016. Now, obviously, if we've changed the content since then, it's going to look differently. So then how do we let Google know? Google Webmaster Tools. This is where we can go ahead and make this change. So what I'm going to do is like I said, I'm going to throw something to Google and say, hey, go check it out. Go take another look at that page, and we want this to be updated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this part of the page right here. And something else you can do, if you just do the contact us, that'll work as well. I just do the whole thing. And you don't have to remember this either. If you just need us to do it, just shoot us an email. Say, hey, we updated the home page. We updated this other page. We've got Google Webmaster Tools on it. Jose, go ahead and update it. I'll be glad to do that stuff for you guys. All right, so here it is. I'm putting this in. I'm going to fetch it. Now there's two options here. You can see how it says request indexing here. So we submitted this for indexing. That's, cataloging. Or for those of you that have worked in retail, it's kind of like an inventory. It's basically going to tell Google to come out there, make a snapshot of that page, and hopefully get an updated version, right? If you're familiar with Google Street View, maybe you're lucky enough like me to have actually seen the car drive by. One time I was outside the VIN office and one just passed right out there, and you could see the big ball with like all the cameras and everything. They're just taking pictures of the streets and the updated, street signs. The roads changed. Sometimes there's new developments. All that sort of stuff comes into Street View. Well, what this is doing here is Google is getting a new version from you. So on this page, I'm going to say, yes, I'm not RTD2. I'm going to tell it right now just to crawl this URL. I'm not going to do crawl this URL and its direct links. And the reason being is I only have 10 per month. We usually use those for when there's like a really big overhaul. Maybe you've done some SEO work, you've had a one-on-one discussion with me where we've done some work on the website. That's when we go ahead and do this URL and its direct links. But for right now, we're just going to do just this URL. We've got 500 of those suckers left, so we'll go ahead and do that. And so now we've requested an index. So basically, this is a win-win for both parties involved. Google gets to, be the dominant search engine because they're giving people accurate, up-to-date information, and then small business owners can, or big business owners really, because everybody uses Google Webmaster Tools, will then put forth the latest information from their website. And so, the next time that we do a search like this, hey, that was fast. So look at that. It is a snapshot of the page that appeared on November 23rd, 1712. So there's this Greenwich Mean Time. So yeah, so we have, we literally just, we updated the page. We used Google Webmaster Tools. We asked them for the indexing, and they always say, it's, it'll take anywhere from 12 to 24 hours or whatever. They're actually real vague on when that happens. But obviously this was pretty much in near real time, because there it is. And now it has this information, which gives a little bit more, it gives people a little bit more information on the thing. We could even change it, because right now, notice how it just says Northern Lakes here. We could probably change that to read something else. See how it says Northern Lakes here, and Northern Lakes Veterinary Clinic. Let's do this. And I'm sorry for detouring on this. Let me go ahead and show you what I'm doing on this one. If anyone needs this here, I put the link in there on how to do this. I'm changing. I'm not going to go too far into that right now, but the title's really important. It shows up on quite a bit of things. So now we've got the name of the practice and the location, and okay. And it does have some contact info, so we'll leave it the way it is. I'm actually going to send it through again, since now we know that it needs to be done. So oops. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of the other features here as well, just so you have an idea of the other cool things that you can do with Google Webmaster Tools. Does anyone have any questions about what I've covered so far? If so, please let me know. We've got a lot of time, and there's only a couple of you guys, so we've got plenty of time to really delve in. Some of the other things that we can do is when we're, and this is part of what will happen if we have a conversation about SEO. A lot of times people will say, well, we're not coming up for this query, and they'll give me an example like vets near town, or for a procedure, or some service that they offer, microchipping or whatever. And so what you can do is under this Google index, under content keywords, you can actually have a breakdown of every search term that appears on your site. So here's lake, Cumberland, pet, all these different things, veterinary. So for example, right here, let's say I'm speaking with the kind folks at Lake Vet, and they say, hey, we're not showing up for veterinarian and Cumberland. I'll say, all right, well, we've got it in there 114 times. You've got 26 pages. Maybe we can increase the amount of times that we show that term. And so we could then talk about the things that we can do to add it, like tagging images or putting in good titles, like I mentioned in that link. There's a whole bunch of other things that we can do, but this part right here with the Google Webmaster Tools will give you the information that you need. A lot of times the search term that people think is just peppered throughout the site really only shows up a few times. And so this will give you an honest breakdown on how many times those things show up. So let's see here, awareness, blood, I'm trying to think. Hey, look, Vin makes an appearance. Animals. Rescue shows up 10 times. There may be other search term that you think, well, we really should be showing up for more. Maybe pet. So pet's showing up a bunch of times, 206 times. Here are the places where it's showing up under all these different pages. Remember that your site, your site is yours, and every practice is unique. So you want to go ahead and customize it as much as possible. If you have content on your site that you can go ahead and improve and make better, you can do so. So for example, let me see here. All right, this is one example we could do. So here's the doctors. I wonder if they're at both locations. All right, so here there's a whole bunch of stuff here about Northern Lakes Veterinary Clinic and Cumberland Veterinary Clinic. So this is good because then if folks have remember that one, they can find it. All this is fantastic because this is all unique things that are unique to that page. There's some text that and I can spot it. This right here on this site, you'll find information about our service and our staff. This is what I call, I don't want to say it's generic text, but it's text that we've put on the site, and as you can see, it appears fairly often. What we put it in there because it's no fun to give somebody a website with absolutely no content. But what we would love for everyone to do is to go in, list the stuff up, change the order around, put in your own terms, and really make it your own. Google rewards that, which isn't to say that our sites don't do well. We've got a lot of clients that do fantastic, even without doing SEO, just for different reasons. But you can certainly improve on that by customizing it, just like these folks did here by putting these customized bios. What they could do is customize the homepage. So for example here, Rice Lake, Turtle Lake, Barron, and the surrounding areas. Oh, this is perfect. So see, this is the sort of stuff that I'm talking about. So if this So both of these locations have two separate kind of focuses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy these search terms. And if we look at Google Webmaster Tools for this site, I'm going to see if I can find any of those towns. Basically, Google will show the top results, and if you get down to the bottom, like stuff like this, around two or three instances is where they sort of peter out. So if a search term doesn't show up more than 2 or 3 times, then it's not really going to make a dent. And I haven't really seen, let's look at some of these. Barron, Spooner, Hayward, Rice Lake. That sounds delicious. All right, so here, using name search, here are some of the pages that are appearing. But as you can see, oh, there's a Turtle Lake too. So Turtle Lake doesn't even show up once. And I mean, we should, right? Because if that's an important, it's important to let people know. So again, if we were having that conversation, this tells us right here, Google Webmaster Tools is, in a way, it's sort of a diagnostic tool. It'll tell you what the, what the site is I don't want to say deficient in, but let's say for the purposes of the conversation, it'll say what it needs in order for the humans to be happy there. And so what we could do if we're if we were having a conversation, I would say, let's add these terms at least one more time. Let's find a place to do that. My guess would be this same contact us page, because I put in here nearby communities, but why not instead is Barron and Spooner one town? I think these are separate towns. Now, I don't know what they call this part of the country. I know, like, for example, where I live here in Central California and in Northern California, we would say, like, the Sacramento Valley area or the greater Sacramento area. That would encompass, Davis and Folsom and all those areas. Or if somebody is in San Francisco and they have clients from all over, they would say, we have clients from the greater Bay Area. So you can finish up with something like that. So here, for driving directions, both the locations, Rice Lake, Turtle Lake, Barron, and all right. So again, we've edited this page a few times now, but we're putting better content, and we can adjust what we're going to put on the site by using the Webmaster Tools. And this does a thankless job. I mean, can you imagine asking a human being, hey, go to my site, and I want you to make a spreadsheet with how many times a lake shows up? I go nuts. I've been doing some mailing lists early this week for inviting folks to this webinar, and it's a thankless job working with Excel. So, thank goodness for machines and for programs that sort of do this automation for us. So, having these words in here will help you make a good, honest assessment of your site. It also helps to have a conversation, because we have to have a conversation. You know your communities better than we do. So if you want to tell us, yeah, we're on the peninsula of this part of Maine, but we don't service this place because there's no ferry, and then we need to know that. Or I was talking to a lady in New Jersey, and she was saying, yeah, well, we want to service this part because the part that's across the street down for 2 blocks is kind of shady, And so I was like, okay, all right, well, you know your community better, you know your little neck of the woods better, so you tell me. So these content keywords are a fantastic resource here. It'll tell you a lot of information about that. Okay, some more things that we can do. This tells us about how the site is working for mobile. So if the, here they're saying that there's one page that's not working. We can find out which one it is. Prescription refill. So we're going to find out exactly what's going on with this particular page, and then it's going to tell us. We could also just look at it. Oh, look at this. It's not even a page that's listed. It's a hidden page right now. So at one point or another, Google came by, and the actual logon page they're not happy with, which is, it's fine since it's a logon page, so we don't worry too much about that. But it'll, and I think most everyone on the call has a responsive template. Let me just do a quick search. And if you don't, then we can change that for you. Yep, Manigo is good too. And as you can see, that's one of the little tests that I'm doing, is just, you could of course just pull it up on your phone as well, but this way, once I see the hamburger appear, which is what they call these three little lines, that'll tell you some information as well. Okay, so the mobile usability will give you some information. International targeting, this is basically just to tell people, please focus on the U.S. Not that we don't like our wonderful neighbors to the north and the south and everywhere else, but if you're a local veterinary, it's not that likely you're going to be getting people from, Baltic states or places in the Middle East or anything like that, and that's where a lot of spam comes from. So they have this to help kind of clear out the gunk when you're looking at statistics. Some other things you can do is this will tell you how your pages are linked internally. A little secret that I'm going to tell you guys right here for search traffic. If Google lists it, it's because there's something there that they're trying to tell you. I mean, Google will say there's not a lot of secrets. I mean, the exact algorithms that they use are a secret, but just like Colonel Sanders, I mean, there's salt, there's pepper, there's other spices in there. You could reverse engineer it, and right here you can kind of see they're telling you internal links. These links between the different pages count for something. So if you've got a page like this one, where there are links here to the services page, and so these pages link to one another. Here's a link to talking about the staff, and if you go to a forms page, this leads you to the VIN pet library. So all these pages that connect to one another are a good thing, and Google is very big on the pages, you being able to get from one page, part of the site, to another without any navigation, because if you go ahead and smush it, hey look, our navigation disappears. So if you're on the home page, what I'd recommend everyone do is to have these kind of links right here where it leads to our services, staff, forms, just the big items, right? So the things like our staff, services, products, forms, etc. And then what you can do is, what I was going to say is like for example our staff, then from the staff, then you link to these other ones. Right now this is set as a kind of a navigation page only because I can't click on it, but that's not my recommendation. I'd recommend, even if you put just a little bit of text in there and then you link down to these other ones. That way they're connected. Hopefully that makes sense, and if not, we can cover that. And the reason again I bring this up is for two reasons. Number one, it's great for people that are on mobile phones, because if you're on a mobile phone, you don't have the luxury of this nice navigation. Now you've got these really kind of ungainly dashes that you've got to click on and use to get to the different locations. So there's 3 clicks. Whereas really all you have to do is go like this, right? And if you're on a phone, you're just tapping it with your finger. So in addition to letting you submit information to Google, checking to see that, the Webmaster Tools will also tell you where you can improve with these links. And so, whenever you can, think about it. And if you don't have a cell phone, make sure to go ahead and ask someone in the practice that does. That'll help out immensely, because then there's a whole bunch of folks out there that are on mobile devices, and you want to be able to reach them. And if they're on a mobile device, chances are that they're doing it out of kind of necessity. They're in a hurry maybe, and you don't want to impede them from coming to that front door to have you folks take care of their animals. All right, this other part here, links to your site. These guys are doing great. So there's 2,300 pages links from outside. When we get together and we talk about SEO, one of the things that I'll discuss are both on-site and off-site SEO. And what that means is there are things that you can do on your website, like adding text and formatting things and whatnot. These are all things you can do on the page, but there are also things that you can do off the page. So one of them is this page called moz.com. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to use this one right here. I know there's 2, but I'm just going to use this one for now. So your business listings are part of your SEO. How your site appears in search, how your site appears in listings. As you can see here, there's 2 versions. I wonder which one. Industrial Boulevard. This site here is a free site, moz.local, and what they do is they put on SEO conferences, they put out materials. They want to make some money, so you can pay them to do stuff. In this case, I wouldn't give them a cent because you guys are already doing great. This practice has a presence on Google, Facebook, Foursquare, Super Pages, but there are some inconsistencies. So here is where you can fix these. Where Google Webmaster Tools comes in is it's telling you how many links appear. So again, yellow pages, yellow book, local.com, care credit, all these pages have links to your site. And if you have links, Google says, hey, this is great. Google views that as a recommendation. It's just another way of directing people to your website. Kind of like if you have a billboard or one of those sign spinning people on the corner, all of these things will contribute to your SEO. And so with Webmaster Tools, it kind of gives you this information, just a general thing. It looks like this practice is doing okay. But if you wanted to do more, let's say you don't have a lot of links. Maybe you've got just a little bit. Then what we would do is, again, we'd have that conversation. We talk about, we'd maybe go to a site like this, or if you've got WinX, pet sites or pet tools, then we can use that tool as well to then log in and fix things. So for example here, see how this one says lakevet.net, but this one says www.lakevet.net? Changes like that make a big deal. Also, look at this thing, localvets.com. So here is a whole different URL. So here is something where you can, and you can change these things as well. You can go over here, click the update listing, and do that. If you need help with this, or if you'd like to play around with it yourself, I've put it here in the chat window where you can then get to it. I also recommend that, again, we have a one-on-one conversation where we can talk about these sorts of things. I'd love to help you with this. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, so the other part of this is once you have, and I'm going to save the search analytics for last because that's kind of a, I want to say the best for last, but it's always fun to look at the good news. So one of the things that's fun to see is that Google will actually email you about things, and you'll get updates from them about different things. So like, we've got it on our own on the sites, on eVetSites, eVetSiteHelp.com, and they'll tell me, hey, there's something goofy going on this page, or we noticed some strange activity or whatever, and you'll get updates like this all the time, where you can go ahead and get things. They'll send things here, and the other thing that they'll do is they'll send you these kind of messages here, as well as give you options to share things. So for example, if I wanted to share this site with somebody else, oh, I got to switch. So here they've got somebody, eastone176@gmail.com. Now, this happens often. I talk to someone, they'll say, oh, well, that person isn't there anymore. I recommend everyone get one Google account for the practice at the very least, a Gmail account. It doesn't have to be a Gmail account. You can just make a Google account. But get one account that's for the practice only. It's not, Dr. Smith or Dr. Jones or whatever. Just a Google account for the practice. And then that way, in case there's turnover, you guys change a practice manager or somebody heads off to college or whatever. That way there's some continuity, and you don't have to worry about tracking Tracy down 4 states away, and she's busy because she's finals are coming up or whatever. That'll help out quite a bit. And the other thing is we can add multiple users. So if the doctor wants access and somebody else has access, Google Webmaster Tools gives you a lot of flexibility because it lets you connect all these different people, and they have all the access to go ahead and make changes on it. You've got 2 options, restricted and full. There's not much that you can really break in there because, again, this is a reporting tool. This is a diagnostic tool, so they can't delete any content or anything like that. If you have any questions about that, again, let us know. We'll be glad to help. Okay, one of my favorite things from here, and something that I use all the time, is this help section. I know that you know, I'm constantly learning myself, constantly asking questions, always trying to figure out how to do this stuff, because this stuff's changing all the time. I mean, I'm not even joking when I say that I logged in this morning and they had new verbiage in some parts of it that was not there, you know, for the last few weeks. So you know, they're always changing things, but that shouldn't. Don't be daunted by that. Just know that it is changing, and if you dive in, you'll have a better idea. What you can do here, this help section, there's a whole bunch of information available. And the information is great because you can go ahead and get, let me go ahead and get this. The Webmaster Academy basically teaches you how to become a better web host. So if you're at all interested in doing this, if you wanted to, you know, do this on your own, even outside of the practice, you know, for whatever reason, this is great stuff. And the course is really simple. How to set up, you know, the websites, how to organize your site structure, you know, tips like this, like how to create content. You know, some of the it's not technical. You know, it tells you, it's pretty straightforward. Things like this, like how Google search works, how your site is indexed. These are all because they want to make things easier for them and their machines and their programs that go out that index your page. So you can find out all about it right here. This one right here, SEO, how to do it. I guess this is me. So there's information on how to do it. There's some real, you know, generic stuff on there. There's a lot of valuable things in there, and they use pretty plain English. So I invite all of you to take a look at that. Take a look at the resources they have, because they basically, you know, Google is in it to make money. You know, we live in Northern California, so I've been in San Jose. Those folks drive really nice cars, but they also want to provide a good service. And the reason they do that, the reason they do drive nice cars, is because their search engine works. If any of you folks remember how things used to be, if you did a search back in the day for, oh, I don't know, and I purposely misspelled this. If you do this, look at all this stuff that appears. It's fairly straightforward. It gives you what you want. There was a time when you would just get a bunch of links, and half of them were spam, half of them were people selling you drugs. It's a mess. And so, you know, my point isn't to say that, you know, Google is without flaw or anything like that. I'm just saying that right now they've got things down to a science, and they give us information on how to rank better on there. Now, I haven't, you know, this particular webinar is about Webmaster Tools. I haven't really talked about Bing or anything like that, but it applies to those as well. Bing has their own search engine. They are number 2. They have their own analytics type programs as well. Webmaster, you know, I did the focus on this because we also have Google Analytics, and it's the more famous one, but it's really it's a lot to take on the first time you log into it, and I'll show you really quick what I mean by that. So, for example, no, we don't have this one. So I'll use Miniville for an example. And if you're on the phone, then thank you for letting me. So here's a whole bunch of information on how people get to the page, what pages they've landed on, browsers, operating systems, service provider. It's a lot of data. And if you're just getting started in SEO or you're just learning, it can be a little daunting, and I don't ever want to discourage people from doing it, but it has to be in the right order, right? It's kind of like me. I'm a budding road bike person. I got a road bike. I use it to ride to work every once in a while, but I'm not out there pretending I'm going to do the Tour de France or anything like that. I'm just starting. I'm just getting my feet wet and getting out there. So it's that so when I see stuff like, this drill down on how many people use iPhones versus iPads versus Samsung, it's a lot of information, and it's not information that you may necessarily be using at this point in your journey toward improving your website. And so sometimes people will ask, well, I need to know how to use this thing. Well, the first steps is, I would say, let's go over here, because there's obviously, just look at the amount of tabs. You've got like 5 tabs here versus all these and these and these over here. So there's a lot of information, and without knowing the context on them, it can be a little daunting initially. This isn't to discourage anyone from getting it, though, because there is great information available there. It's just a little bit of a bear to process at first. Okay, so that said, I know we're nearing the end of this, and if anyone has any questions about anything I've covered, please let me know. The final thing, which I think is the funnest, the most fun thing, the most, and when I have these conversations, I always like to end on an up note. I like to think of myself as an optimist. So here is where we can find out what people actually type in to find your site. So in other words, these are actual searches that people have typed in. Cumberland Vet, Cumberland Vet Hospital, Cumberland Veterinary. So, this one right here, in the last month, 12 of them. So clearly that name, that branding is kind of stubborn. It's pervasive. It's got a little bit of a legacy there, which is fantastic because, on the home page, it references Cumberland. I think somewhere in here, where was it? Original Clinic in Cumberland, talking about doing that. And then I think the doctor talks about it as well, when it was called the Cumberland Veterinary Clinic. Yeah, there it is. So this right here shows that, that's important that they put that, because not only are people clicking on it, they're making an impression. An impression is when something shows up. And look, we're on the first page. This position right here is the position in search. So if somebody does if I do this search, so look, this is position 1, this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so that's what this thing does. It'll tell you exactly, well, not exactly, but it'll tell you, the average position of your search result. And a lot of times people come up high for things that they didn't know that they were doing high. I'll have people that'll say, oh, we're doing terrible, and they do a search, but then they'll do a different search. And the bottom line is that everybody does searches differently. We all ask different questions. We all type in different search terms into Google in order to get things. This gives us a non-biased report of what people are using. So Northern Lakes Vet, Northern Lake Service, North Lake Vets, Vet Clinic. A lot of information here. I'll drill through some of these really quick. All right, so a query means just what people type in, right? This is what somebody is typing in to get to the site. If I smush this, an impression just means that it appears. All these right here are impressions. A click is, well, somebody clicks on the link. Somebody actually, like right here, clicks on that link and makes that happen. And then CTR is a click-through ratio. What that means is it's the ratio of how many times people see a link versus actually clicking on it. And then, of course, there's the position. This is not necessarily page 1 or page 7. These are both on the first page. most pages have, so like example 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we've got 10 results on one page. That may vary depending on how big the map is and if there are any ads, because sometimes you'll get those paid ads that appear on there. But here at least you can again plan for something. So if you recall, we were looking at the contact page, and we added the terms Barron and Spooner and Rice Lake. Well, we're not ranking for those right now because it was only on the page once. Now we've got it on there twice. And we can continue to do that, maybe not by repeating it, but there's other things we can do, like putting stuff in the images, or maybe you know, in the About Us, creating kind of like a little history of the page, of the practices. You know, there's a lot of things that you can do to increase these terms appearing on the site. And then hopefully we'll see it show up. If we look here for the clicks, and you know, if we reverse this position, you'll see some of the things that people are typing in that aren't showing up that well. Rice Pet Clinic. So maybe this is, you know, from Lake Rice. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Great Lakes. Vet North Lakes, Azalea Lakes, Rice Lake Clinic. So look at this, 44th. So we're ranking pretty low for this one, for Rice Lake. But imagine if we had that term in there multiple times. It would push us up. If we improve the SEO, we did some stuff, and then we could start you know, being a contender for that term. Again, this tool can help us analyze that sort of thing, and then we can help you make sense of it. The bottom line is that this is a free tool. It's a great resource, and you don't have to know all the intricacies and the technical points of it. Just know that, you know, the reason that Google has it is that they're trying to get accurate information on websites, and if they can have us do that, there's a great trade-off. They will get, they'll continue to, you know, offer a search engine that gives people accurate results, and you as a practice owner or manager or a person there can help present the information in the most accurate way possible. So I hope that helps. I'm going to wrap this up in a second here. Does anyone have any questions about what we've covered? I'm going to check one more time on that one link. Let's see here. Curious to see how this thing, if this thing is updated yet. Nope. So it looks like it took our initial update, but then the second one is a little slower to come. So for this practice, even though we've updated it now twice, it took the first one, but not the second one, whereas you can see I added the Northern Lakes Veterinary Clinic and the Cumberland information. Okay, great. Well, again, I thank everyone for attending. I know this is just an introduction to Google Webmaster Tools. If anyone has any questions, again, you can, we strongly recommend that you set up an individual consult. That way we can help out. We'd love to help you out with all of your SEO and website needs. If you need a makeover, if you have any logo information that you need help with, we can help with that as well. Also invite everyone on the call to follow us on social media. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter and Instagram. Facebook.com/eVetSites, Instagram.com/eVetSites, and Twitter.com/eVetSites. So we invite you all to come and join us. Okay. If no one has any questions, then I thank you all. Thank you for attending, and if we don't talk to you before then, you have a great Thanksgiving.